Hi there, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US, and in this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this impossible box, which is sized to fit one of Bath & Body Works' PocketBac hand sanitizers. This is such a fun little box. This is, I think, the third or fourth impossible box that I've made, but I absolutely love the way that it closes and goes together. Super sweet too that you can see both sides of the designer series paper. The finished dimensions of this box are 2 3/4 by 1 3/4 by 1. So of course you can fit other things in here besides the hand sanitizer, but let me show you how possible this impossible box is to make. We're going to start with a piece of the 'Tis the Season designer series paper that measures 6 inches by 5 3/4 inches. This is a great box to use your 12 by 12 or 6 by 6 designer series papers with. Along the 6-inch side, we're going to score this at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 4 1/2, and 5 1/2. Then I'm going to rotate it clockwise, and we're going to score this at 1 inch, 3 3/4, and then I'm going to flip the cardstock for the next 2 score lines, which are at 4 1/4 and 4 3/4. And that's just because the paper is going to fold a different way than the first 2 score lines. The next thing I'm going to do is actually flip it over this way. We've got our 1 3/4 inch score line here. I'm going to fold backwards on the second score line. So I think you can see there's one score line here and another score line here. I folded backwards on that middle score line. I'm going to come in and burnish this just to have a nice crisp fold here for now. But while it's folded, I'm going to go ahead and make some tick marks. So grab your stylus from the Simply Score or take your pick tool. I'm going to press that folded edge up to the top of my Simply Scored. And using the ball tip of my stylus, I'm going to make little tick marks at 1/2 inch, 2 1/4, 3 1/4, and 5. Now it's probably going to be difficult for you to see those tick marks, trying to catch the light there, but those are going to help be guides for where we're going to cut on the diagonal. I'm going to now rotate this 180, so I've got my fold facing me. I'm going to grab my paper snips, and from that first 1/2 inch tick mark, I want to cut from the lower left to the upper right, stopping where this score line here intersects with the end. So I'm going to come in, find that little tick mark we made, and cut like so. So if I open this, you can see we've made that sort of triangular shape. The next thing I'm going to do is cut up each of the vertical score lines, again while it's still folded, but stop at that first horizontal score line. So I'm really just separating it right there. And just continue to do that all the way down with all the vertical score lines. Like so. Okay? Now find your little tick marks, and again, we are going to cut from the lower left to the upper right. We're stopping now instead of the edge, right where that vertical score line is. Like so. So when we open it, you get that triangular shape. Just keep working your way down, finding those tick marks, cutting them all in the same fashion. Like so. And the best tip I can give you is if you make that cutting motion in one fell swoop, you're going to get a straight line there. Now I'm going to come here. We actually want to remove this corner, but also come in and miter or notch. So I'll show you what that piece looks like. See how it's a little bit angled? That's how it came out. And then you'll find that you've got it, the edge that looks like this. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is to fold and burnish on our score line. So remember, this top one we're going to fold backwards as well and burnish. So these top 2 fold this direction. Now the other 2 are going to fold in the opposite direction when we burnish. So from the profile, it's going to look like this. Okay? Now my best tip here is to fold backwards on that first score line before we start to fold and burnish on these vertical score lines, because we want to make sure that this paper can fit over the bottom, just the mechanics of the box, and so it works really well to burnish it with it folded backwards like that. And just work your way down and burnish. When you get to this little 1/2" tab, this one's easy, but you want to make sure that this tab here, that you are folding it over this additional piece of paper. Okay. We've already done all of these cuts when we had it folded backwards. So now we're going to focus on the bottom here. I'm going to remove this lower corner rectangle. And then I'm going to cut up each of the vertical score lines, stopping at that first horizontal score line. I'm going to fold the larger sections out of the way to sort of isolate those tabs, and then I'll come in and notch those. So now our piece looks like the template. I'm going to update this template. You actually don't need to take this little sliver out of this top section. It looks nicer if you don't. Now it's time to put this together. Again, you want to fold backwards on that top score line. I'm going to flip it over this way. Now I'm folding on the second score line from the left. I'm just going to put glue on this little 1/2" tab. I recommend liquid glue for this. We're going to put this tab down last. So then I'm going to fold on the first score line from the right. And I'm kind of just moving these out of the way because we're really just focused on gluing this bottom section. All right, now let's focus on the bottom. Here's our seam. I'm going to fold in the 2 tabs. Now they're going to overlap slightly, but because this is designer series paper, it's not too much bulk. Liquid glue on each of the tabs, and then liquid glue on this front flap. So now we can fold from the back, then the front, and with liquid glue we can square up that bottom really easily. Put the cap on your glue bottle, and then you can come in and press down from the inside, like so. Now I'm going to tuck this tab. We're going to dry fit this first before we add any adhesive. I've tucked the tab sort of behind this section here, and then I'm going to gently press this into place. How cool is that? So again, let's just make sure that that dry fits really well. It's a great fit. All right, so let's go ahead and open it. I'm going to isolate that tab and put a little bit of liquid glue. Now I don't want to go all the way up to the score line. I just want it to go close to the score line, but not all the way to it, because of the fact that this is wrapping around the box and tucking underneath. It's not going to be a perfect lineup. So now I'm going to put the tab just underneath, fold everything into place, and then I can focus on folding this right into place. The liquid glue gives us some time to get that right. Again, it's not going to perfectly line up, but it's going to be really close. You may have a little bit of glue oozing out. That's all right. It's easy to clean up, like so. And look how sharp the top of that box looks. I love the way that it opens. I'm going to grab my PocketBac hand sanitizer and place that inside, and then close our box. Love the contrast of the 2 different sides of the designer series paper. Now we are using products from the Wonder of the Season suite. We use the 'Tis the Season 6x6 designer series paper. And then I'm going to use the Wishes and Wonder bundle. I've already stamped this ahead of time, but we stamped the North Pole sentiment. And then I die cut it using this circle. This is a really great set of dies. 2 different types of tags, this really cool starburst that has stitching. Take a look at these dies because they are really awesome, and I love the stamp set that goes with it with the mistletoe. You can get these bundled together at a 10% discount. So I've already stamped and die cut that sentiment. I'm going to add a trio of dimensionals. We're going to pop that up on the front. Now I'm trying to stay away from the lid here. And then I'm going to grab a small gem from the Wonderful Gems. These are beautiful because they've got little gold flecks in them. I'm just going to add that to the front there for a little bit of bling. There we have our Wonder of the Season Impossible box. This one's sized to fit a hand sanitizer from Bath & Body Works. I just love the way that these boxes look, especially showing off both sides of the designer series paper. And I can't wait to see what you make. Hand sanitizer is so boring these days, so we might as well dress it up with a little bit of stamping and paper crafting, right? So thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and a picture of the template. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com, where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. And if you don't want to miss a thing, you can subscribe to receive blog updates via email, and you'll receive an email each time I publish a new post. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, the starter kit is the ultimate bundle, and it's a great way to fill your wish list for less. You can purchase the starter kit and join my team at thepaperpixie.com/join. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you'd like a complimentary copy of our catalogs, you can order catalogs through me at thepaperpixie.com/catalogs. And if you give this project a try, I'd love to see what you made, so feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag #PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.